next month again, and the month after that, and the month after that. I am looking for Raul Viescas. Mr. Viescas is an affiliate of our association and has been for many, many years. He is oh, wait, I have the wrong flight. Okay, I'm gonna have to switch it out. Homeowners insurance, guys, you have the packets that he brought. Shop local. Raul is a big sponsor, and he always has our back, and we're so grateful to him. I'm gonna give the microphone over, and he's gonna give you a few words. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Good afternoon. Anyways, again, Raul Viescas Home Insurance Agency, and about 7 years ago, we bought another agency called Gold Key Insurance. So you guys will see the logo on there where it has both agencies. Basically, home insurance agency has always been that. We do a lot of property, and commercial has always, Gold Key has always been more commercial. So basically, we're about a 50-50 mix right now. We're an independent agency. What does that mean? We're not captive. That means basically your captive agents, Allstate, State Farm, Geico, Farmers, they're all great. They're great. You can't knock them. They've got name recognition. They're great. As an independent, there's pretty much nothing out there that we cannot insure. Okay? I've had people call me, can you do this? Yes, we can. Can you, do you do bonds? Yes. Do you do probate bonds? Yes. Do you do, my favorite has always been, I got a call from a friend of mine who's a New York life agent, and she called me and she says, hey, I need your help. What's that? I need you to do a couple of kidnap and ransom policies. I said, really? And she said, yeah. So we've got two global companies. One is Zurich and the other one is Lloyd's of London. And we've used both of them. And, that's the type of insurance that it's very meticulous, involves a lot of bodyguards and stuff like that. And there's people out there that have so much wealth that they need that type of security. So again, as an independent, I'm going to say we can probably insure 99.9% of anything that is out there, okay? I've been a member for probably over 25 years here at the Board of Realtors. I've gotten to know many of you, okay, from years back. We've worked at some of the same offices, way back, back in the 80s, with Michael Bray, Elizabeth Leal, Ruth Ann Berkman. We were in the same office back then when I was with still Home Insurance, but in the office with Future Company Realtors. So if you ever need help in any way, shape, or form when it comes to insurance, give us the opportunity. We can do, again, full service, properties, auto, flood insurance. I know a lot of you have called, or if you have a doubt about flood insurance, just call the office. We can let you know immediately whether that property sits in a flood zone or not, especially if off the border highway or in any other area where things pond, You've got areas such as in front of Hanks High School. You've got other stuff. And so just give us a call. We can go ahead and let you know immediately whether or not a property sits in a flood zone. And if it does, then we can give you also a proposal. If you have an elevation certificate, then we can also give you a proposal, and that rate will always be less, especially if the property is elevated, okay? So again, just give us an opportunity. We can insure just basically anything that's out there, okay? And thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for coming out.
Thanks, Raul. Remember him the next time that you have a I need homeowners insurance. Make sure you think of Raul Viescas. Now the big moment we've been, are we good? Okay. So we are very honored to have the mayor come and speak to us today. I don't know if you guys know, but his mom was a realtor for many years. So I would like to ask him that question. How was it being around realtors growing up or living or having to hear about open houses and all of that? The other is, what inspired you to be a mayor? Serving is something that not everybody likes to do. So I would like to please welcome Mayor Oscar Leeser. Thank you, sir.
Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. You know, I'm glad you got done putting that up because I know no one was paying attention while he was speaking. They're all wondering if you're going to get that finally put up. So glad you got it done before I came up. No, it's a great honor to be here in front of you all. And, you know, it's really important now when we talk about housing industry, El Paso, the economy. And one of the things we've noticed, and it's a little better, and I followed a lot, like you said, my mother was a real estate years, and I had the opportunity to read a lot of real estate contracts because I would sit there and look at them and kind of up, and I felt like I had a license almost, but I didn't. So, and then my wife, real estate agent, she's still currently a real estate agent and for the board. So it's important that we the buyers, and I know you all, you have got buyers, but in this me that is almost hard to gauge what stuff will sell for and what big part of what's today. And I know at one time there was just, I remember many years ago, it was a lot of supply and low demand, and you could get a great deal on a home. And then all of a sudden it got low less, and then in the last, what, year and a half, 2 years, we've incredible supply. And I know that homes sell really quickly, and homes sell for a lot more than asking. So it's been, it's when you talk about, it's one of the things I've met with Diana Kilgore, and I'm sure you guys have also, when it comes to the evaluation of property and how properties are starting to be evaluated. And right now, their biggest issue today, and I met with her, and they got a guy by the name Danny, who I think it's incredible. I don't know if y'all ever met him there, but he's got every answer possible over there. But it's and then David Stone, who works with Diana about property evaluation, and they to in front of City Council that you have to 95% of that, and that El Paso is way below that this moment, and just trying to catch us up. It's very unfortunate because we need to control the taxes, and when we look at what taxes will be this year and the coming year, the City Council made a recommendation for the city manager to look at rolling back the rate once it's established. I'll give you a little bit of the schedule here, and I wrote it down. Well, I didn't write it down. I had Estrella type it so I could read it. But the special district sets values, as you all know. We all know that. And we're looking to lowering the tax rate. And when we say lowering the tax rate, it's really the effective tax rate once properties are estimated, not based on last year's taxes, but on the tax rate coming up. We have directed the city manager to identify differences, avenues of trying to lower the tax rate, because it's going to be really important this year as property continues to go up in value. and, homeowners continue to be burdened with high taxes. So it's going to be really important to us. So on June 27th, 29th, we have a workshop session, and we talk about a lot of the things that, how we're going to come up with the budget and what's needed to continue to run the city and run it efficiently and make sure quality of place for our citizens. 5th, and this is the important date, we received the certified tax roll, and that's after all, I think it was last month was the last day people could do an appeals for homes, and so on July 25th, which will give us the amount that was assessed by the Central Appraisal. On August 1st, percent certified tax roll ordinance introducing tax rates. So that's going to be a really important day. That's the day we introduce the tax rate to the taxpayers, and then we'll hold a public hearing, which will allow all our citizens to, be able to voice their opinion, their voice, and then we'll adopt the budget on August 16th. Now it's important that we look at how we can continue to operate the city and still bring a quality of life to our citizens. And it's been very important that we really look at how we can be very efficient and more efficient. As you noticed last year, I vetoed the budget, which was very popular to the community and very unpopular to the council because they voted on it. And then I felt that really there were some areas we could cut and continue to cut. And so I vetoed the budget to make sure we look at other avenues. I've twice since I've been in office to continue to advocate for the taxpayers and our citizens. And I will continue to always do that. You said, why did I run for office? I ran for office because I run a business. I'm a homeowner, and I understand the impact of taxes. I understand how I have 160 team members at my store at Hyundai of El Paso, and I understand what it takes for them to be able to provide for their families. I have an issue with the state of Texas, and we need to change this somehow, whether it's you all through your board or whatever, but I really believe we need to change the minimum wage. The minimum wage in Texas is $7.25, which is, how many of y'all think you could raise a family of 4 on $7.25 an hour? Not one person. Now, in my business, we don't pay that, and we would never consider paying that. But that is the minimum wage in the state of Texas, and this is what is followed. So we really need to make sure that our citizens, our team members, and I talk about the 160 I have in my business, they have an opportunity to provide for their families and continue to be able to pay health insurance. And, I can go, which is not what I'm here to talk about, what we provide or don't provide, but we do provide insurance for, our people that work with us because it's very high. But so it's really important that we advocate, and that's why I ran for public office, because I understand it. I can tell you that when I'll go back a little bit, I was born in Chihuahua, Mexico, and I came as a young boy. First job I had as a 16-year-old boy was a janitor at Chula Vista Mall. I learned from there that the last thing I wanted to do for the rest of my life was to clean restrooms. And, and it gave me a goal to set for myself, and this goal for my life, that I wanted to become successful and I wanted to work hard. My mom and dad were incredible individuals. They, my mom had a real estate license, so did my dad. They actually had their own business, and they thought that they could start. My dad started a furniture store in 1984, and my mom started it was called Queens and Tots, which was for little kids and large size apparel for women. But my parents were originally minimum wage employees trying to raise 9 people on minimum wage. So where we were, had to go through. I can tell you that my parents always provided, and you never realize you don't have something until you go, wow, I didn't have that. I didn't realize, because we always had a roof over our head. We always had clothing, and we always had food, and we had the opportunity to go to school. And so they provided and worked through my youth, and my parents never had the opportunity to go watch me play because they had to go to work. They had to provide for the family. And as a young boy, when I went to Putnam, we had on Saturdays. Well, Saturdays, everyone knows, largest retail day. So they never had an opportunity to ever get off and watch us play on any time. So, so I understand the struggles that my parents went through. I understand the struggles that I went through as a young man, and my wife and I had a child when I was 18, and we understood that what we had to do to try to provide. I had 2 jobs. I had to work to make sure we could afford a house. I sold cars in 1980 at Kim Ford, and I got off work at 7 o'clock so I could go work at the airport till midnight. And it's not a sad story, because really it's a great opportunity. I became an American citizen in the mid 70s, and I call it that I'm living the American dream, the dream to have the opportunity to buy a home, to own a business, to raise a family. And this is, I wanted to run for public office because I was there. I understood it. And this city and this land, this country, gave me that opportunity to become successful. I go talk to kids all the time. I go talk to schools, and we always talk about, I tell them that, to try really, really hard. And just because you try hard will not guarantee you ever success, but not trying hard will always guarantee you failure. And that's something that I learned, that we had that. So to your public office, because what's wrong?
I'm gonna switch mics.
Why, you don't like this one?
No, we need this one to sound better. Yeah.
All right, she's gonna. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hello. No, this is fine.
Testing.
Anyway, I wanted to, we're all one. We're all created equal. And I went through all the struggles of life, and I understand that no one ever gave me anything, but my goal in life was always to buy my, because they couldn't afford, and they could. For that opportunity, that I was able to buy my house, buy him a car. And my mom and dad love him dearly. Mom's not first birthday, by the way. So, hello. I don't think you cleaned the bottom though. No, I'm kidding. But no, and I had that opportunity to buy him a house. I had that opportunity to buy him a car. And, my wife and I, when my parents, I'll go back and I'll get all over the place, but that's all right. You'll follow me sooner or later. But when my parents decided, my mom put all her jewelry, hawked her jewelry, they sold their home, they sold everything they had to be able to do that American dream and own a business. And in 1984, their business went out of business and they went under. And my mom was trying to figure out what she was going to do. So my wife and I had a little bit of money saved up. Not very much, but we told my mom and dad that we would put them to real estate school so to give them an opportunity to provide for themselves. And so they went full time to real estate school with Mrs. Goodrich. I think everybody went to real estate school and knows Mrs. Goodrich. Phyllis? Yeah. And I played football with her kids. So anyway, so she was there at the school, and she would tell me some stories about Dan Haggerty and some of the stories she would tell them. And unfortunately, I can't repeat any of them. I think everybody remembers those. Yeah. But she went full time to the school, so we were able to provide for them and give them the last penny we ever had to make sure they did that. And from then on, you can take somebody, like they say, a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. This career gave them an incredible opportunity to provide for themselves and provide, for each other and their grandkids, and be able to do that. So this is, I get always very honored and humbled to speak in front of y'all, because I saw what it did for my family. I saw what it did for my mom and dad. It gave them that opportunity, someone that really had no experience and never had done something like this, to go to school and learn a trade that they would be able to have for 40 years. And we had to beg my mother at the end to stop selling real estate. It was like, okay, Mom, you're 88 years old. It's about time. And, you know, you went ahead and you ended up crossing that I and dotting that T. And, you know, and that's when I ended up having to really help her with those contracts. And then we finally convinced her, because she loved what she did. She loved her clients. They were all family members. And I can tell you, I met a lot of them that came to their home for dinner, or, you know, to a birthday party or whatever. And that's what's the beautiful part about, you know, this, that it gives them that opportunity, and they gave them opportunity to really, I think, to expand their family. And not that 9 of them wasn't big enough, but so it's been a great honor to be part of the city. And as you see, I will always continue to fight for the working people, for the people that provide the taxpayers, and because we're all one of them. We're all together. I have a business. I have a family, and I understand what it is. Here, one of the things I did have was someone had asked a question, and I kind of asked the city to give us this information, so I'd have for you, which was, are we going to get an additional PPP for housing? And the city, we're not specifically, it's going to be a PPP, but the city is providing, it's called Home Partnership Grants, and it's going to be $2.5 million. And we can get you more information if y'all need that for, as we move forward with multi-housing development, affordable housing grants, single-family housing rehab, and also first-time home buyers assistance. So the city will have that available through Nicole Farini and her department, and we can get you all that information. People can apply for it and get that type of part of the $2.5 million that's available to the community.
You wouldn't want to run that through the Housing Finance?
Pardon me?
You wouldn't want to run that through the Housing Finance Corporation?
Yeah, well, that's what they're running it through. It's Nicole Farini's department, and it's like I said, it's through the home part from the city. Right. And we can give you more information if needed, and you can always reach out to our office, or we can have Nicole Farini kind of give you all the information needed, so you all can have information in front of you. And then the other question was asked, it sounded like somebody was upset that we don't have an arena yet, that it was passed in 1928, I think. So it was in 2012, the citizens of El Paso voted on a quality of life bond, which was $458 million for the improvement of the quality of life for our citizens. And in that was 3 signature projects. The first one was the Children's Museum, which is La Nube, which is, you know, we bought the property where the old Greyhound was. They've started construction. It's been ongoing, a wonderful project that it was about a $29 million project, and now it's probably about, with the private sector, has really gone up to over $60 million. But it was in cooperation and working together with the private sector. Also, the Mexican American Cultural, which is being built in conjunction with the El Paso Library downtown, which is being expanded, and the plants, and it's underway now. Now, the third project is the multi-purpose center. And that's where it's been very controversial, whether it's an arena, it's a center, but it's a performing arts center. And I really believe that we need to give the citizens what they voted for, which is a multi-purpose center and performing arts center, which I would love to see the Abraham Chavez Theater incorporated with it. I would love to see the convention center. The convention center was built in 1968, before I was born. Just kidding. But it was built with, 2 stages, and we've only done the first one. And I've traveled all over the country and been to a lot of convention centers. And we don't have the convention space. We don't have the breakout rooms. We don't have what's really needed for a convention center to have large conventions. And to take that $180 million and transform the convention center into a state-of-the-art convention center and performing arts center with the Abraham Chavez, which if anyone's ever been in there, it's a beautiful facility that needs a lot of love. So that's what I'd love to see happen with that and give the voters what they voted for, which is a performing arts center. Now there's differences in council members and council and people of the community that, believe something different, and I respect that. And I would never disrespect anyone for having their opinion, but I believe that right now, that if we were to build something, it would be a lot more cost, really almost, we'd have to have it brought back to the taxpayers because it wouldn't be cost efficient today to build a 15,000 seat arena. You couldn't build it for $180 million. So I'm hoping that we look at the convention center, we look at the Abraham Chavez Theater and build but will create a return on investment to the taxpayers. And I think that's really important because now we'll have conventions, we'll have tourism. And they're doing, I'll tell you one thing, Destination El Paso is doing an incredible job. They were able to secure the El Paso, the Democratic Convention in 2024. The police, the firefighters convention will be coming next year. And so we really are doing, but we're spreading them out all over town, all over the place, and it'd be incredible how much more we could do if we had a viable convention center, and we'd get some great return on investment. And I've always been committed to make sure that we develop the city everywhere along, all districts, whether it's the west side, downtown, the Northeast, the Mission Valley, East Side, it didn't matter. Everybody pays taxes, and we need to make sure that we invest equally into our community. And I think you're starting to see quite a bit of that as you see regional parks, command centers, everything in each section of our city starting to be redeveloped. You're seeing downtown has really become a very focal point of our community, but we still need to continue to focus on every section. And you see that. As realtors, I think you've had the opportunity to drive around and see the investments, whether it's that big park on the far east side or Cohen Stadium on the northeast side, where we have those water parks that are really become really focal points for the community. We have the one on the east side that we opened. So we've opened 4 spray parks and community centers in the past year and a half. What else? I'll ask. I could probably, I'm really excited of the future of our community. You can see that, as Amazon came to El Paso, and really they're located in Horizon City, but we're all one community in El Paso, and all the jobs are being created from within the area. But Amazon's starting wages are $18 an hour, and that's now we're talking about allowing our citizens to have a quality of life. There's a translation center that's being opened. And that's starting at $17 an hour, and that's going to create 500 jobs. Amazon is looking, I think they told me, I was over there, they put me to work, to 2,000 jobs. So that's really how we're going to continue to grow our city. We have probably the most projects that are in inquiries into our economic development department we've ever seen. Usually we would see 25, 30 projects we're working on. The last meeting I had, which was 2 days ago, we had 83 projects currently that we're looking at that have been submitted for a proposal, either from the state or from site consultants and companies that are looking to see where they can expand. So that's been we never thought we'd see 83 projects. We have quite a few that are on the, almost finishing area that we're looking to finish and announce. And that's how we're going to continue. That's how we're going to go away from the $7.25 an hour jobs, because no one will want to work for you. I mean, if you're paying $7.25 and we're bringing all these companies to El Paso that are paying $17, $18 an hour, they're going to go work somewhere else. And I think a lot of companies have seen that, which is really good for the community. The more money individuals make, the more homes, the more hamburgers, the more movies. And I didn't want to say this because it sounds self-serving, but the more cars we sell. Yeah, I couldn't help myself, but yeah. And I am very proud of, as you all know, I'm the Hyundai dealer in El Paso. And I'm always very proud when I go talk to companies and we talk about the opportunities in El Paso of my dealership, because I am the largest Hispanic-owned dealership in the nation for Hyundai. Which is a great, honor to have and be able to do that, because it shows that I took a dealership in El Paso that was selling 15 cars a month to being the largest Hispanic dealership in the nation. But we, when we get cars, that's, been a challenge lately, but when we get cars, we would sell between 300 and 400 new cars a month and 100 used cars a month. So we went from 15 to between 300 and 500 every month, which is a big difference. And we did it in El Paso with a great economy that our city has and the great opportunities we have to be able to build a business. So I'm very proud of that accomplishment. That, we talk about team members, and it's the team members that have been with me since the day I opened the dealership and the great job they do. I get the opportunity to take all the credit, and then I get to go work and become the mayor of the city of El Paso, and they continue to do the great job and continue to earn people's business and earn people's trust, which is a great thing to happen. I'm going to open up to questions, and no more than one. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So, for Leeser, my name is Yvonne Colombia Ramos. I'm a realtor, also District 4 representative for the city of Socorro. So I'm glad that you're here today. And you were talking about tax rates, which is something that we talked about ourselves. But being a small municipality, we don't believe we have the push that maybe this bigger city might have. So I would like to ask you if you need our help to push that that tax rate to reach out to us, and we'll certainly go out there and help as well. But when you talk about the tax rate, the city manager, is it just the city of El Paso, or he's doing the whole county of El Paso?
I don't quite understand what you're talking. We're all different municipalities, of course, and the county is governed by the county judge, and he does a great job. And also, Keller, who is basically equivalent to the city manager, and then Socorro has their own government. But at the end of the day, one thing we've learned, and we learned it the hard way, in my opinion, is, and we talk about Horizon City, which I think they're rock stars within our community because of the job they've done through expansion and building that community. But we've learned a long time ago that I think recently we learned it the hard way through COVID, that we didn't have a united voice. We kind of were split up, and we just saw that we ended up being the worst city in the nation for COVID, and lives were lost. And we all decided it was time to stop having a divided voice. When I got into office, and the county judge and I have a great working relationship, and and all the cities surrounding, and with the District 2 fighter, Mr. Sparsa, Chief of Sparsa, we were able to communicate and go from the worst city in the nation. And you saw all the news trucks and unfortunately, we saw that there was trailers with freezers filled with citizens of El Paso, because we were losing lives so quickly that it was totally out of control. We were able to unite our voice, have the city manager and his staff, and Betsy Keller and the county judge, and Jacobson Throne and UMC and District 2, which is Mr. Chief of Sparsa, which is out there in the county. Everybody started working together and having a united voice, and the citizens felt safe and started believing that this is what we needed to do. We couldn't mandate a mask. but we couldn't find anyone that didn't wear one for a while because they felt that we were talking with one voice. We were the first city in the nation, in the state of Texas, to reach herd immunity. So how do you go from the worst to the best? Because we worked together. We united our voice. And we've always known this, that a lot of people trying to work in different directions will accomplish nothing, and everybody working together will get it done. And we did that. And we, our biggest thing, and that was a big challenge. We had over 300,000 people lined up in the queue that wanted their vaccine. And I can tell you, and I agree with them, everyone wanted to be next because they felt that they were endangered because COVID out there. And we had to work through a system, because if you were the first one and you didn't meet the criteria, give you a vaccine. We were going to give it to somebody that had diabetes, somebody that was over the age of 65. So we came up, and it was incredible work by the city and county together with a dashboard in the system that would really filter through and make sure we weren't double registering people. And the 300 names were really the names that were out there. So we ended up working together, the county, and we went out to, the county went out to Socorro and went out to different areas to vaccinate our community. And we literally were able to change from the worst to the best within months. And we all worked together, and we didn't allow anyone to be out there without it. As a matter of fact, even the county judge was able to open up Tornillo and allow people from Juarez to come in and get vaccinated. And you go, why would you be helping Juarez? Because they're coming across. We want to make sure, we breathe the same air. We want to make sure that we protect each other, and that made a big difference. And so I'm not sure if I answered your question, but it gave me an opportunity to really talk about we worked united to become one and become successful.
Thank you for being here. My name is Chastity. I'm not also a realtor. I'm also a command sergeant major in the Army. And so my question goes to the military family. Back to property taxes, which was her focus of her question. Right now, with interest rate and property tax, a $225,000 house costs your family almost $1,800 a month, which is higher than the BAH, which another fight that needed to be raised here. So I want to go back and put some more pressure on the property tax question to say, does that population need to get a different discount so we appeal to them, so we're not pricing them out of the market that they're made to come to? Or what is your take on that? And then my second question is, as realtors,
just make sure it's not as hard as the first one.
I know it's tough, but it was once explained that the reason why we pay so much property tax is because we are residential rich. We don't have a lot of big corporations paying into our tax bracket, so it can't reduce it. So we as the citizens carry that as for the city. So we can talk about that, and is there any plan to bring any more corporations in that we should know about that will help, alleviate some of that pressure on us? And then as realtors, when we're out in the field talking to our clients and we're, pushing why they should be at El Paso, like I'm meeting with somebody today that's choosing between El Paso and San Antonio. For me, it's a no-brainer, but we don't offer as much as San Antonio. So if I'm talking to this client, what's the next top 3 or top 5 biggest things that's coming to El Paso that we say, hey, other than all these shopping plazas that we're getting, what else do we have? I know there was one time talk of a Great Lodge. We don't know whatever happened to that. I know IKEA, but I don't know if that was just a rumor. But some things like that gives us a little bit more meat to these folks, and anything you're talking with the military about some of this property tax relief for those military families. Because, they have to roll the funding fee in. So it's not like a conventional FHA loan. They're also rolling that money in. So they're getting hit 3 times now with the property tax, the interest rate, and the funding fee.
Yes. No, remember, it's right now, and it's been like this long before I even considered taking office back in 2012. I ran for office. Long before that, it's been so off balance that tax in almost every city in America, and I know in the state, you see the balance of companies to homeowners is a 50-50 or more the businesses than the homeowners. Well, in El Paso, we're 70% business and 70% homeowners and 30% business. So we could not go out and say, okay, we're going to tax all these businesses and put them out of business or have them leave El Paso and go to Santa Teresa, which will be different, which has happened. So what do? You're exactly correct. We need to go out and bring new companies to El Paso, but not really to have all these companies pay the taxes, but start having better wages, higher wages, so we can have more people paying into the tax roll and then divided by more. And I think you see that by all these companies coming to El Paso. We have more companies that, like we were talking about earlier, that are looking to relocate to El Paso. We've had, quite a few announcements recently of openings of companies, and we'll continue to have that, because as we continue to see the growth of our community, then companies will start coming naturally, because they don't want to miss out on the growth. They don't want to miss out on what's going on. And I think we're seeing that today. Our unemployment rate actually got as high during COVID as 14%, which was, no one's going to buy a home. No one's going to buy, go to a movie, go out to dinner, because they're not working. Well, our unemployment rate, and I'd have to get you an accurate number, but it's somewhere around 5.5%. So it's made a big difference because of what's going on today. So you're right. Unless we bring more companies and we bring more tax-paying entities into our community, which we have 83 companies that are looking interested. Now, when I say 83 companies, they're not only looking at us. They could be looking at 10 other cities. So our job now is going to be to earn their business, to earn their trust. Or how do we go talk to companies like Schneider Electric and Champlain Cable to stay in El Paso, reinvest in our community and expand, so we've done that, and we'll continue to do that, to continue to provide manufacturing today where it is today. So we got to look at, where do we look at manufacturing? Where we have the 1,000 acres in Northeast that I kept telling, since I was in office last time, I kept telling the city that if we keep offering it, somebody's finally going to take us up on it and take it. So, and we got a really interested company right now that wants all 1,000 acres to build a facility that will create great paying jobs. So you're 100% correct on what you said, that unless we bring more companies, more tax-paying entities, which is companies that provide a job and a good job for people to buy homes, and then we divide it by more. We can't go out and tax these companies, because they'll leave us in a hurry, and then we'll create a worse atmosphere than we have today in our city. And so, who's this, your command sergeant major? Well, thank you for your service, and thank you for being part of, and I always tell people that if it wasn't for you and people in the military, I wouldn't have the opportunity to ever be a public official, because you give us the right and the freedom to be able to do something like this. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to be part of the United States of America and have the opportunity to have the freedom to be here. So thank you for that.
Are there any plans to clear the military detritus that's left up there in the Northeast from when it was a training field?
That's being military land, that's a federal issue that and the federal government would be, we couldn't do that. We would not have the opportunity to go in there. I know that Beto O'Rourke, Congresswoman Escobar have been working on it, and need to continue. Federal land, we don't have it. One or the other.
All right. Any other questions? Awesome. It's federal.
Yeah.
You were talking about minimum wage, and this is a federal problem. But if there's anything you can do,
No, the state of Texas.
Right, but this is a federal law, but if there's anything proved to anybody up there, people who work for tips, serving people who work for tips, their income is $2.13 an hour unless they get tips. That was signed into law by Bill Clinton, who is now a very old man. Well, I know, I'm an old woman.
When he go Arkansas?
I am not from Arkansas.
No, him.
Yeah. But if there's anything that can be done, when the pandemic hit, those serving people were hit so hard, and there was nothing we could do about their income.
You couldn't, I agree with you. I couldn't disagree with you. And, you know, it was up to the business owners. And I can tell you, and I'm not bragging about it, but I'm going to, that I applied for the PPP and I got a lot of money from the federal government because I closed my doors for a week and I paid every one of my employees for the whole week because that was my responsibility. And then I was worried that everybody was going to catch COVID. Unfortunately, most of them did, it seems like. But I was very worried, so we would only allow people to work 20 hours, but we would pay them for 40 hours. And if you were a solid employee, you could only work 40 hours. And then we had to stagger our forces to make sure we could distance ourselves. And I paid the difference out of my pocket. And I was very blessed that our business stayed well. The only guy really that wasn't getting paid was the guy that owns the business, which is okay because I've had the reward of being the owner and being successful. So I got a huge amount. I'm going to tell you about your federal government. So anyway, so I ended up, you'll like this one. I'm kidding. But so fill out an application to be able to keep the money and not have to pay it back if you didn't terminate your employees, if you paid your employees and no one lost any wages. So I did that. But then I looked at my bottom line and I didn't lose any money. I wasn't as successful as I've been, but I didn't lose any money. So I said, I'm going to turn the money back to the federal government. I don't want it, which I guarantee you, I'm not sure anyone did that. So I'm forced to give it because they applied for it falsely. So I called the bank. I said, I've not touched the money. It's sitting in your bank. I want to return it to the federal government. And they told me, we've not had anyone ever ask us that. We don't know how to do it. So I said, well, can you find out for me? So they came back a couple of days later and they said, Mr. Leeser, what you got to do is the federal government said the only way, and it was a lot of money. And I saw people buy fancy things with their money. But I said, the only way you can give it back to the federal government is you're going to have to pay interest on the 6 months you had the money. And I said, okay, let me get this straight. I'm going to give them the money back to hopefully they can give it to somebody. And no one knows this. It wasn't like I was trying to do it because I want to run for public office or anything else. This is something between me and the bank. And I've talked to a lot of banks and they said, no one ever did this. So I ended up having to write a check for the interest and then they would take the money back. Otherwise they wouldn't take it back. And I did. So see, and Bill Clinton was already out of office when that happened, by the way. Yes, ma'am.
We know that, according to what I heard, that the taxes are a little bit higher because of the school district we have. We have about 12 or 13, if I'm not mistaken. And other cities, they have maybe 1 or 2. So is any way that we can get the school districts like lower or work together that the taxes are not too high for us?
And that's a great question. But if the city, CAD controlled by the state, and what I do have the opportunity to do is appoint 2 members to represent you and I as members of the city. So every entity in the city has the opportunity to appoint 1, the city being the largest area has the opportunity to appoint 2. So everyone has an elected official. So I said, I don't want to do that. I think it's silly because we don't become experts just by being elected. They give us the opportunity to surround ourselves with people that understand, people that know, make sure things are happening. So what I did, I appointed your president of the Realtors Association to CAD. And then I appointed a big real estate owner that owns a lot of buildings in the city to CAD. And that's how we were able, in my opinion, able to see what's going on. And they've been, I think it's really opened their eyes to a lot of things that are going on. But so that's what I felt was really important to do. And the city of El Paso is the only one that doesn't have an elected official on the CAD because, again, we don't control the tax rate. We don't control what's going on or the property value. Everything is controlled by the state. And they told us that the city of El Paso is at 65% real value. And their goal is to make sure by law that they have to get to like 95%. But I think you'll see that property values are starting to stabilize. We've seen that. I read an article the other day, and I hope it's accurate and continues. The price of lumber is going down. So I think that will really change what's going on today. So we'll start seeing property values really, this is an opinion. This is not, if I knew you were going to ask me that question, I would have brought the crystal ball, but I didn't. But it's my opinion that we'll see it stabilize and not see these jumps in property values moving forward. Because again, a lot of it was caused by shortage. When interest rates go up, we all know that real estate slows down a little bit. And right now interest rates are on the way up, and we'll see the Fed's having another interest rate hike coming up in the very near future. They were planning to do either 4 or 5 this year. I think we've done 2. So we need to, I think we'll see that, and then the price of lumber. So, it's almost darn if you do and darn if you don't in that situation, to be honest with you.
Real quick, have a great Pathfinder with the plates was CKW. Your car's about to get towed. Pathfinder, great Pathfinder. Okay. Have another question?
Where do you get my hat? It's, I actually was walking through Vegas one day, and there's a hat store there at the Venetian, and I saw that, and I bought it there. Now, I know that I look really suave and debonair in a hat, and I appreciate the question. I don't wear it because I like it, because you get very sweaty in El Paso when you wear a hat. But unfortunately, I seem to be able to. The reason why I didn't run for re-election in 2017, I had cancer, and I just had surgery 9 weeks ago from cancer again. And so I have to keep covered because I seem to be brewing. I've had 4 surgeries since 2016. So, but every time I beat it, and I'll continue to beat it. I haven't gone for my final checkup from the last surgery, but if anybody wants to see the picture, it's really gross. I do have it on my phone. So I took a chunk about that big from the top of my head. And then I told them to close it up real quick before anything leaked out. So we're okay.
Anybody else?
Well, thank you all. I appreciate. You have a question?
I have an anonymous question from somebody in the audience wants to know who your barber is.
Who my barber is? Well, I don't want to reveal my barber, but I am the president of that company.
Anybody else? Oh, that was so good to have you. Thank you so much. Thank you. That was. Well, thank you, everybody that came, and thank you, Mayor. We look to having